Hello there, my name is Mr. Smardonkey. Welcome to another episode of Weapons of the Wasteland. Thank you all very much for your positive feedback, I very much appreciate it. And also for the votes on which weapon to use next. Seems the Submachine Gun was fairly popular, so that's the one we'll be using. So I'll start off by showing you guys the available scopes for this weapon, the Submachine Gun. So first of all, we have the standard scope. Then we have the glow-sighted scope, again pretty similar to the regular one, just adds a few dots. And then we have the reflex sight. This one doesn't have a dot or a circle one, it just has a reflex sight and happens to have a dot. We've had a little look at the scopes that this gun uses, and now it's time to see the unmodded gun in action. So this was actually quite a lot more fun to record than the shotgun one, just because the shotgun one was so difficult to do, because the enemies obviously had to get close to do any damage. And the submachine gun does decent at, I mean, not far distance. I shouldn't use it as a sniper, that's for sure, but you can use it at a decent distance, keep your distance from the enemies, and especially when we get to the raiders, it's going to be a whole lot easier to do than the shotgun. But anyway, let's start by going over the stats. So this gun only has 10 damage, but of course it's a submachine gun. The fire rate more than makes up for that with 127, so it fires very, very rapidly. The fact that it has 50 bullets in the mag standard as well means that it can hold, or you can keep firing for quite a while before having to reload. So that low damage definitely gets better with, or it doesn't get better, but it gets compensated by the fire rate and the magazine size. And of course, when you start upgrading to the larger magazine, it will hold 100 rounds, so you can just keep holding your trigger down for about 20 seconds or so without ever running out of ammo. But anyway, range 107, not bad for a submachine gun. It's actually fairly decent. Accuracy only 63, but the recoil control, especially later on with the upgraded versions, is very, very good. So that accuracy doesn't actually affect the gun too much. But anyway, killing the super mutant without too much trouble. And there we go. So we've seen the regular submachine gun in action. It's time to start upgrading it. So we're going to immediately go to requirement rank 1 of gun nut, and the reason for that is that the available mods for for no requirements basically are very limited. As you can see, there's nothing available in the receiver. There is the short light barrel, but it only improves hip fire accuracy, so it's not really something worth showing off even. Stock, we can't change anything there. Magazine we can change, but again, not really something worth showing off, having a larger magazine. And the sights we can show off, but that also doesn't really matter because we'll be showing that off in later ones anyway. So we're going to skip straight past no requirements basically, and we're going to go straight for requirements rank 1 for gun nut. So what we're going to be going for is the armor piercing receiver. Because this weapon, the submachine gun, it has a base damage of 10, and it doesn't really change. You can see the last upgrade is actually 16, so the damage on that is not very high anyway. So I think armor piercing is actually quite a useful thing to have, because the damage is quite low anyways, and going for the hardened receiver doesn't make much of an improvement at all, so you may as well just go for the armor piercing instead. And the range gets a slight upgrade as well, but it's fairly unimportant. I mean, it's just a minor upgrade. For the barrel, we will go for the short light barrel. This is the one we'll be using for every single one of them, because it just increases or improves the fire accuracy. There's really no reason not to go for this. It's a plain upgrade. It makes it a little lighter as well, actually, which is interesting. So there's literally no reason for, not to go for this, except for saving materials, because it costs 2 adhesive and 3 screws, which are somewhat rare, so maybe you don't want to waste those. For the stock, we can go for the full stock, so this once again gives better recoil, which is actually the other one gave better, what was it called? Better hip fire accuracy. This one gives better recoil, but still better recoil. The magazine we can upgrade to a medium quick eject drum, so we could also go for the large drum, but I prefer going for the quick eject. The large quick eject is pretty good though, because this submachine gun is like a Tommy gun, as you can see. It has a base ammo of 50 and it has a large mag of 100, which is pretty damn good. But we're gonna go for the quick eject, because I don't like having an inferior reload speed, because it already takes a little while to reload this gun, because it has such a massive drum. So for the sight, we're going to go for the reflex sight, just because it's my personal preference, but as you saw earlier in the video, I showed you the other sights as well, so if you prefer one of the other ones, I would definitely recommend going for that instead. And for the muzzle, we are going to go for the muzzle brake. So this is an interesting one. We immediately have Compensator and the muzzle brake unlocked from gun nut rank 1. Suppressor is gun nut rank 2, but that means basically I think the muzzle brake is just a little bit better. It does reduce the range a little bit, but the recoil control is very high. It's exceptional on this one, and has better per shot recoil as well. And I think recoil is such an important thing on a submachine gun because it is a very fast firing weapon. You want to have good recoil control, and you'll see that in the video as well in a minute, that the recoil on this is actually really, really good. So anyway, that is the muzzled armor-piercing submachine gun. So it's time to see how the muzzled armor-piercing SMG does. This is the first armor-piercing weapon that we've used on the series, and it does fairly well against armored units, as you would expect. But against these ghouls, it doesn't actually make a whole lot of difference, whether you use the previous gun, or sorry, the unupgraded version of this gun, basically, or if you use this one, because these ghouls, of course, don't have any armor. They've got a bunch of clothes on, but it doesn't change anything. Against these raiders, you really notice the difference, though. But before we get into detail, so 10 damage is the same as before, but it's all about the armor piercing. 127 fire rate's the same as before. 91 range has gone down a little bit. Accuracy 77 has actually gone down up quite a bit, and the recoil control is a lot higher on this as well. But you'll see it gets much better on the last two guns. The recoil control on those upgraded versions is absolutely immense, so you can just keep your trigger down the entire time for the entire 100 shots in this magazine once we get to that version. And it's absolutely insane, but we'll see that in just a second. The Super Mutant, not too much trouble. Armor piercing definitely helps taking him down as well. So we've seen a muzzled armor-piercing submachine gun in action. It's time to do some more upgrades. So now we're going to go for gun nut rank 2 requirements, and the other gun is going to have gun nut rank 2 requirements as well. So first of all, we're going to go for the Hardened piercing receiver. So this is basically just a plain upgrade from the armor piercing. It still does armor piercing damage, and it has improved range as well, but again, it's very minor. It's just an extra 2 range. It's nothing to write home about. But it also has the improved +3 damage from the regular Hardened receiver. So basically, it's a combination of these two. So you have both the armor piercing and the extra 3 damage. It is pretty expensive though, like 7 screws and 4 adhesive. Those two in particular are fairly rare. But still, I think this improvement is very strong. For the barrel, once again, we're just going to go for a short light barrel. There's really no reason not to go for that, except if you wanna not waste your, or not waste it, unless you want to save your materials. For the stock, we can now go for a recoil compensating stock. So this has exceptional recoil. You'll see that in the video as well. The recoil on this gun and the next one is absolutely, well, it's essentially non-existent. Basically, the recoil control is so good. The magazine, we can now go for a large quick eject drum mag. So this has 100 ammo in it, and it reloads very fast as well. So basically this is just like an unstoppable gun. You'll just keep firing away and it never ends. Reflex sight once again because it's personal preference. And the muzzle, we can go for a suppressor, but I think a submachine gun doesn't really fit with having a suppressor. I think personally, this is just again my own feeling though. I mean, if you want to go for a suppressor, please feel free to do it. But I think that a submachine gun just doesn't really fit. I think a suppressor is good for sniper rifles or other like one-shot guns, basically, that do a tremendous amount of damage on their first shot, so that you can keep yourself stealthed and keep doing that. But I think for a submachine gun, it doesn't really make sense to go for a suppressor. I know I did say like I'm going to start showing off other things as well, but it's essentially the same thing as a muzzle brake. It just makes it silent and it decreases the range a little bit. So I'm not going to go for it. I'm going to go for the muzzle brake again. But yeah, if you want to go for a silence gun, please feel free to go for a suppressor. I'll definitely be showing off the suppressor when I start using guns like the sniper rifle though. Anyway, that is the Recoil Compensated Hardened Piercing Submachine Gun. So now it's time for the Recoil Compensated Hardened Piercing Submachine Gun to take the field. And the clips are going to go by so fast that I'm just going to have to hurry this up. The damage, 13, has gone up a little bit. It does have the armor piercing as well, of course, so against these ghouls it doesn't do too much, but against the raiders you'll see in a minute, and the super mutant as well, it just tears it down absolutely ridiculously fast. Fire rate 127 has not changed. 91 range has gone down a little bit, but not enough to really be a concern. Accuracy 78 has gone up a little bit again, and you can see the recoil control on this gun is absolutely immense. You can just keep holding down the trigger and it just does not matter, like it will keep firing in the same spot. Right, so seeing the Recoil Compensated Hardened Piercing Submachine Gun in action. God, I can't even How did I remember that name? Anyway, so it's time to do the final upgrades to this gun. So this is not necessarily a better gun, just like with the shotgun in the previous video. This is not necessarily better, but it is a little bit different. So for the receiver, we're going to go for the powerful receiver, which just adds an extra 3 damage on top of that hardened piercing receiver, but we lose the, we lose the 2 range, which is again nothing really, but we lose the armor piercing damage. That is a significant thing against certain enemies. Against some enemies it's going to be better, against some enemies it's going to be worse. Of course, armored piercing, or against armored units it's going to be worse, but against non-armored enemies it's going to be better. Barrel, same thing, short light barrel, already explained why. Same here, recoil compensating stock, really no reason not to go for that, has exceptional recoil. Same for this again. This weapon is going to basically be exactly the same as the previous one, except for that one receiver that's going to be different. This gun, it doesn't have a whole lot of customization. I mean, if you take this, for example, this is all you can choose, and if you take the 10mm, for example, you can scroll down for like half an hour and there's still options down there. There's just a lot more to do there, but this submachine gun is not a whole lot to do, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it's a very strong gun nonetheless. So anyway, that is the recoil compensated powerful submachine gun. Now last but not least, the recoil compensated powerful piercing submachine gun, another one with a massively long title. By the way, you can actually change titles if you want to. Anyway, 16 damage, no more piercing anymore though, but the damage has gone up a little bit, so against these feral ghouls it will do better. Fire rate still the same, 89 range has gone down a little bit again, and the accuracy 78 is the same as before. But it's all about that damage. The recoil control on this gun is immense, and the fire rate is absolutely amazing as well. If you can get ammo for this gun, you can keep firing for days and it'll just take down enemies without any trouble. This gun has been a lot of fun to use so far. So here's a new segment I'll be adding to the series from now on. It's pretty self-explanatory. I put up all the guns against each other and then see which one kills the super mutant the fastest. I would put timers in there, but my editing skills leave something to be desired, so I can't actually do that right now. But I hope you guys enjoyed anyway. Thank you all very much for watching another episode of Weapons of the Wasteland. Please let me know in the comments down below which gun you would like to see me use next. Till then, have a good day and goodbye.